Welcome, everyone, to the Holstein House podcast. I'm the West Virginia woman, Robin, of RobinHolstein.com and Holstein House, where my guests get a great night's sleep at a fair rate plus breakfast. This is a podcast that looks at society and culture issues affecting families in West Virginia and the United States, from food preparation and storage, gardening, home repairs, current events, and more. We'll go around the table and back in 60 minutes or less. So let's hang out and talk a while. Good morning, all y'all. How are you this morning? I am Robin Holstein, and this is the Holstein House podcast. I'm glad to have you here with me this morning. This is actually the first episode in season 3. Not that anybody's been counting, I get that. It's November the 5th, 2024. It's also Election Day in the United States. So this is episode 136. Like I said, it's the first one in season 3. And we answer your questions relating to hosting a B&B from your home, pantry, your food preparation and storage questions, and more. And we don't touch a lot on current events. I figure we may do that a little bit today as we get through things. But today we're going to kind of look back on the 2024 growing season and a little bit on the year. I mean, it is November, so we're coming up quickly to the end of the year. Talk about the chickens and the ducks and the hawk sighting, the drought, and Election Day and other things. So I'm really glad to have you here with us. I hope you will comment, at least say hello, so that I can say hello back to you. Sometimes I'm hopping back and forth between pages and I may not see it right away, but trust that when I do see it, I will say hello. And that goes for you guys over on Rumble as well. So we've got Rumble and YouTube and the Holstein House Facebook page connected. I hope. Sometimes that Facebook has been doing some weird things recently. I see a lot of people complain about it disconnecting from StreamYard and other things. And there's just and it goes with improving, or if you want to call it improving, technology, and just things change. So maybe StreamYard updates a few things and it doesn't connect well with Facebook, or Facebook updates things and StreamYard's a little behind. But whatever. It's fine. It's wonderful. And we're just happy to have the opportunity to come and talk to you today. So, how are things been with you guys? It's been relatively quiet. Lots of regular doctor's appointments and things that we always have. No one critically ill or anything like that. I'm still going through with the allergy injections. I had an appointment last week with the allergist and got to talking about. He asked me, why do I have penicillin flagged as an allergy? And I have done that all of my adult life because my mother told me that when I was young, a baby, that I had some type of reaction. I never did completely get what that reaction was. She just told me I couldn't have penicillin. So I always flagged that on all of my charts. And I always told him, I don't know what the reaction was. I was a baby. Mom never specifically said what had happened. So we are going to do an allergy test for penicillin next week, next Wednesday. And I have to go off of the Allegra. Allegra is one of the medicines they have me taking every day. Of course, it's over the counter, but I take it every day, except right now because I can't take it within so many days of the test. Oops, sorry. And I really can tell a difference. I'm still on the Singulair. I'm still using the is it Breasttree? I think it's Breasttree inhaler, and I can tell a lot of difference. The coughing has eased up quite a bit, except for the last few days where I'm not taking the Allegra. The hoarseness, he said for me to switch. I was taking Allegra in the morning, and the oh, rats! It just went out of my head. The other one in the evenings, and he said switch that up and take the Allegra at night. So I'm doing that. But at the same time he told me to do that, I had to stop taking the Allegra because of the test coming up. So it's always something. It's always something around here. But you know what? If it wasn't, we wouldn't be here. So I am glad to have you with us. And I did promise to talk a little bit about looking back a little bit on the garden for this past year. And I want to tell you, I really had fun with the garden this year. I was also kind of stressed. Uh, it didn't do as well as I had hoped it would do, but it wasn't a total flop. And those of you who have followed or have caught up on the videos from this summer, you know that I have found my soulmate tomato, and that's the Jersey Devil. And I have decided I'm going to try to grow at least 3 plants next year. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you will go back and check some of the videos and even really some of the posts that I put up either on Instagram or Facebook, under Holstein House for Facebook, some of the shorts that I did on YouTube, just social media in general for me, or Holstein House, you will just see this plant was huge. I mean, huge, to paraphrase a particular political client, not client, candidate, political candidate. It was huge. It was huge. That plant, I mean, it was a monster. And because of the way, I mean, it produced very well, but you may only get 3 or 4, at a time, because it's just one plant. But I think the most in one day that I harvested off that Jersey Devil plant was 6. And they're shaped like peppers, in case you didn't already know. And some of you guys are tired already hearing about it, but they're shaped like peppers. They're kind of long. They're a multi-purpose plant, more meaty than juicy, but you can still get some juice out of them, if juice is your thing. And I'm just really, they just tasted like summertime. They really did. And I did struggle towards the end of the season with some blight. I'm going to treat the soil. I'm going to try. I mean, you can't really, blight is airborne, and it's in the soil, plus it's airborne. So if you've got one plant with it, it can blow and contaminate the other plants. But so I did struggle with that a little bit towards the end of the season, and I just kept that cut back. I did treat early on, and some of you guys know that I use a diluted, like a teaspoon gallon to the gallon of water of brown mouthwash, Listerine type, and some dish soap. Some of you guys that tried that said you had trouble with it, said it looked like it burned your plants. And the only thing I can think is maybe your measurements were off. It could be a difference in the chemicals in your water and the chemical reaction with the water. I primarily was using rainwater, not tap water. But you could also back off and try baby shampoo. It's not as strong, and so if maybe you didn't have the original, and I'll just say Dawn because that's the brand that I had, original Dawn, not the extra strong Dawn and the Oxy Dawn and all that stuff. That could have been it. I don't know. But I didn't have that burnt issue with mine, but it seemed to do okay. I wasn't able to keep up with it later in the season the way I had been earlier, because just life events and appointments and stuff. I couldn't spend as much time in the garden as I wanted to. So I did end up with some blight. I did end up with some squash bug issues late in the season. So the squash bugs and the cucumber bugs did get to my squash plant eventually. And so they they, towards the end of the summer, not necessarily end of the season, but like in August, they weren't producing well. We also, and this ties in a little bit to what we're doing here this morning, we also had this has been the worst drought year I've seen in ages. That I was paying attention, let me put it that way, because there have been times in the state when we've had a drought season like this, but I wasn't gardening, so it wasn't as noticeable. But my rain barrels have been dry from natural rain for a long time. I have filled them with some tap water from the spigot, and knowing that it would sit there, and then and most of the chemicals are going to dissipate over time anyway. But we haven't had measurable rain since right about since Hurricane Helen. Is it Helen? What was the one that just went through and just devastated North Carolina so bad? You would think I would remember that, but I didn't. I have it written down here because I was talking about it last time, a month ago or so, maybe a little over a month. And I have deleted that. Anyway, the hurricane that went through and just did so much damage down in North Carolina, that was the last measurable rain. We did get a couple brief little showers, but it was so shallow that it barely dampened the grass and just made little dirt marks on the windshield of the car. So it has been a very, very dry year and or summer. So some of the issues in the garden are going to be that even container gardens require more water because they can't get their roots down into the soil to go down deeper to try to find water. And if you miss a day or so, then your plants can really struggle. My front porch strawberries didn't do as well, even though I was watering them just about every morning because the air was so dry. So even though I was watering them and they were pulling up the water, the air was just drying them and the breezes was drying them out. I picked up some chrysanthemums as decorations for the front porch. I always do that in the fall, and they just dried up in no time. I just was not able to keep up with them. And it really has been a tough year water wise. The guy that does our grass, Lawn Overdue, Caleb at Lawn Overdue, he just didn't have much lawn work. And we had him do some fencing for us and stuff, but his lawn work is low because the grass isn't growing. So it's just been a tough latter half of the growing season. And but overall, I mean, the garden did okay. Would I have liked it better? Yeah, I think most of us would have liked it better. But next year, I've already been trying to think of how I'm going to lay the garden out next year. I think the tomatoes, except for the Jersey Devil, I think the tomato plants were not happy in their location. The tomatoes around here they're never happy. I don't know. My tomato plants are almost never happy. The pepper plants were mildly amused, but they weren't really happy where they were either. And they didn't produce very well either. So I'm not sure what's going on with them. It may just be me. Maybe I don't have a gardening thumb. But around the house, generally, the Airbnb, we've had our long-term guest. She is the nurse. She's been coming not every week. Her kids are in some things in school that with her husband's job and stuff. They're bouncing back and forth, taking the kids to their games and stuff at school. I know her mother was had some flooding when the hurricane went through, because southern West Virginia, one portion of southern West Virginia got a lot of flooding too. Excuse me. And I don't think a lot of people know that. There are other pockets of areas across the country that that did get some devastating flooding, and it's not much paid attention to. So they have. It's not that they've been forgotten; it's that they were never picked up. The news media never picked up on what was going on down there. So, but the things around here have been going about normal. Mr. Holstein has finished his travels for the year, so he's home all the time now. I don't usually announce that he's gone, just, it would be dumb for me to sit here and tell you, oh, he's gone this week. But he's finished his travels for the year as far as we know, and I'm glad to have him home. I would rather have him home all the time anyway. So, well, working, so he's gone through the day. But I'd rather have him not travel. I understand the need for it in his job and everything, and I'm thankful to the Lord that he has been traveling safely. But I'd rather have him home at night anyway. I think I told you that I went to the Homesteading-ish conference and met Joe Salatin, and I learned some really neat stuff over there. That was last month, and that was really a nice event for their first one out the gate, and I look forward to going back next year. We haven't started any new projects here. The neighbor, we had a tree taken down. It was one of those things. Taking trees down costs a lot of money, and they lined up somebody. There was a particular tree that was really close to the fence line or the property line, and they took it down. And the guy took it was dumb on our part because we agreed to let him take it down, and the guy took the wood. It was a chestnut tree. It should have been long story, but anyway, that there's at least one less tree on the property, but there's like 5 more that we need to have removed, and they're like a couple grand a piece. It's just crazy. So trying to get the money for that put back when you got quarterly taxes and property taxes and all the other taxes that they put on you, and then you're trying to take care of your property like a responsible property owner, and then they suck all your money away. But you get the government you deserve, don't you? So I hope everybody will go out and vote the proper way for the proper candidates. I'm a conservative voter. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get in trouble for endorsing anybody. I try not to get too political here, but some days you just have to. Some days you just have to call a spade, and you have to say what it is. And you know what it is there's one candidate that's going to help you do more for yourself, and there's one candidate that's going to tell you the government can do it better for you. There's a great book out called 1984. You should read that book or watch the movie. The movie's not as good, but it is faster than trying to read the book. Oh goodness! So we don't have any major projects going on right now. But with the fences finished up in the backyard, and it looks real good. And so far, it's done a good job. We've not had any trouble with anybody coming through it, which we didn't expect anyway. It was the animals that we were worried about coming through, and so far we haven't seen any signs of them. Oh, let's see. Chickens and ducks. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can get the photos up here, and I'll show you. Remember, we've got our new girls. I don't know. Well, it's been a month since I showed you. Did I show you pictures of the new girls? I think I showed them to you. They were still in the pet cage where we were bringing them home. I have some pictures. somewhere here. Oh, I got to remind you about that too. I'm trying to look for a good clear picture of them. I don't see. Oh no, I have a bunch of them here somewhere. I don't want to go too far back because they're grown. I mean, well, they're not grown, but they're grown. See, that's not. Jeez Louise. That one, it's hard to see. I am looking for those of you guys on the audio. What I'm doing is I'm looking for a good recent shot picture of the girls that you're going to be able to make heads or tails out of. This one might do it. Well, probably not. But let me share this picture with you and share screen, window, share. Let me do this. It's hard to hopefully you can see what's going on here. It's hard to really see their size. So these are like, I don't know what, 3-gallon, 4-gallon pots here that the peppers are in. These are the Jersey Giants. We got a thing for jerseys this year here. Jersey Giant girls, and these are the Rhode Island Reds. And you can see these, they're getting some more feathers in here. I have moved all of the girls into the coop with the big girls. So the little girls and the big girls and the ducks and everybody's all in one coop now. They are well over, I don't have that here. I think they're about 4 months old now, if not older. I don't have that. I should have brought that down here with me. And so they're doing real well. This is where I have let them out in the yard. I'm sitting with them still because they're just the right size for a hawk to grab. But they're a little bit too big now for the cats. I don't think the cats in the area would try to take one of these down, but they're little just still small enough for the hawk. Let me, if I can. This is one of the ducks. This is not one of the baby ducks. This is the mama duck. So we got the 4 ducks back in August. This is the mama duck there. And that's one of our regular chickens, and that's the dogs, and that's just stuff. It's one of the birds. Here's a good one of the ducks. So that's the baby girl duck. And this is no, wait a minute. This is the mama duck. This is Auntie duck, and this is one of the babies. The male duck, the drake's not in that image there. I don't know when the last picture of him I have. Is he in this one? He is not in that one. But this is what I did to the coop to make more roosting spots for everybody. So nest boxes, the baskets and stuff. So the ducks obviously don't jump up into here. I have had ducks get in the lower baskets, but these plastic baskets or buckets or whatever they're called, I got at the Tractor Supply, have been in there forever. And usually everybody's using this one over in this corner because when this door is shut, this is the dark corner anyway. So this is a piece of front porch rail that I put up. Well, it's the old rail from when the porch come apart last year, and we had to get the new porch stuff done. But this is a piece I have fastened it to the floor. And so the girls are hopping up this little roost. Nobody uses it to roost on. Nobody likes it, except they will use it kind of like a ladder to get up to these roosts and to get off of them. I put this board up the other day. I trimmed it up and put some, dummy me, I didn't even think. I had it really tight up against the wall. Well, the birds have got to get their feet, and then, they're going to turn sideways and stuff. So they don't, I did put a block. You can't see it. So there's a block back behind here so that it's not right up against the wall, but it's really not far enough out. They need it further out than that. So that caused me to want to put this piece of fence or porch railing up here. And obviously I did that. So most of the girls, the older girls, are roosting here and roosting here on these two that are in the corner of the building. The new girls are learning how. The first several days I had to put them up here, but I've watched them the last few days before darting in there to lift them up. And the Rhode Islands have caught on quicker how to hop up to here to this top bar here and hop over onto the railing here to roost. They get up there pretty quickly, pretty easily. The Jersey Giants are kind of dumb. They just don't, I mean, it's like they can't figure out, oh, I just watched everybody else, all 6 of the other birds climb up this and hop up to their roost, but I just kind of wander around here. And then they eventually hop up there. And one of them yesterday evening got over here pretty quickly. The other one just kind of stood here and just looked from side to side. Like, oh, do I want to go over here? Do I want to go over here? And I had 2 girls on this side and 2 girls, the older girls on this side. The ducks were all down in here going, will you hurry up so she can shut the door? We want to go to bed. It's just crazy. So it's hard to tell what we're going to have in the when the new girls start laying in the fighting for nest boxes. I have in here those artificial it's kind of like astroturf pieces nest box liner. I like these. The birds don't seem to enjoy it at all. They do use the one over here, but they don't get on these at all. um, but it's just, I don't know if it's because it's actually plastic, astroturf stuff, or what it is. So there's that. There's where I went voting. Oh, here's the boy. Here's the boy duck. So I don't know if you can hear that or not. It was a little video I put up, one of the shorts I do in the morning. So that's the boy. He's got a little double fluff thing going on up there. Jack Spearcoat, I had posted some pictures of the ducks right after I got them on Noster. Of course, I posted it all over the place, and Jack Spearcoat picked up on it quick because I had the hashtag ducks or something on it. And he says, oh, now this is when they were small. Oh, that black one. And he was talking about this one. That black one, that's a boy. That's a boy. I guarantee you it's a boy. Well, it's not. I don't know Jack well enough to catch him and say, hey, but the boy is the gray. And I call him Dorian. You know why? Because Dorian Gray. This is Cindy the cat. She's our oldest pet of all. She's let me think. She's about 16 years old. She doesn't come in the living room very often because Bob, the dog, is kind of mean. He hasn't bit her or anything, but he chases them. He darts at them and makes them run out of the room. So this is a rare living room sighting of Cindy the cat that I had posted on a few of our social media sites. Let me think. It's probably as far back as I need to go right now. On pictures. Oh, this is all of the. Oh, this is a rare sight here, and it's not in the world. Ducks getting in a pond. What is rare about this is Duck, our pekin here. She's our oldest poultry. She's about 7 years old now, 6 or 7. She survived the longest. These girls, well, and Dorian, haven't taken real kindly to her. I mean, 4 against 1, but this was a rare sighting here when all of the ducks were in the water together, splashing around and going in circles and having fun the other day. They love when I swap the water out in these little pools. I have 2 of them. I used to keep one around front, and I decided to bring it around back because it was, it kills the grass out there. But when I dump that water out and I put fresh water in it, man, they just splash and carry on. I don't know if, let me see. This is a video, but yeah, there they go. Just playing. You'll see Duck. She's planking. That's a thing that they do. It's a pecking order thing. And they just have a good time there. I really enjoy my poultry. They're so much fun to sit and watch. Oh, here's a reminder. Change the batteries. Change the batteries in your smoke detectors, folks. I was changing the batteries. I took these pictures so that I could do a post on them. This is one of my smoke detectors, and what you can't see with the battery in it is there's a little arm under here. And let me see, which direction do we go here? Yeah, so this little arm has to be tucked under the battery when you swap your batteries out. Otherwise, it won't work. Ask me how I know, as Nicole says. And I put the new battery in there, and you can see it's tucked under. But yeah, I did that. I changed our batteries last week when the time changed. And don't get me started. I think time change is stupid, just like everybody else. I think the time it is now is the original time. This is standard time. This is what time it's supposed to be, even though we don't like it. Just leave it alone. Don't change it anymore. This is AB. This is AB. She's our second oldest pet. AB is short for AB Lincoln Holstein, because AB is a Lincoln County cat. She came from my brother-in-law's place. He was going to take her up. He wanted us to take her. She was just a kitten. He wanted us to take her up to the animal shelter because he had taken as many kittens as he could to the animal shelter. And I said, you know what? Nah, just leave her here. She's a great mouser. She's an indoor-outdoor cat. She's got a wonderful personality, and her tail is so long. It's amazing. And mostly that's about it. Oh, this is so real quick. This is hard to make out. This is a hawk. This is the first hawk that I have seen this fall. Now, it's not the first hawk I've ever seen in our backyard. It's not the first hawk I've seen this year in our backyard, but it's the first one this fall. They kind of come through, and it's so far away, and somewhere around here I have a little magnifier for my camera that you put over the camera lens on for my phone, that you put over the camera lens on your phone, and you can zoom in on stuff. I don't know where. I went to right where it's supposed to be, and it wasn't there. So, but this is what I think it's a red-tailed hawk, and the reason I say that is because it's light on the underbelly. But I do have a video of it flying off, so it's late in that video, so I don't want to play it. It's this video over here. But that's it for the pictures. Hopefully you got to see some of that, and my big old mug wasn't in the way the whole time. That's just a little bit about what's been going on there with the livestock and the chicken and the ducks and the stuff around the house a little bit. I would love to hear from you, either in the comments or something, that what you've had going on this summer. Did you have any issues with your garden? Is there anything we could talk about that you may have had issues with in your garden? Or just even food processing questions. I haven't done a video in a long time of any canning or cooking or anything. I need to take care of that. I do a lot of cooking. I really do. I just don't think to set the camera up. My house, for those of you who may not be aware, my house is not a Pinterest house. It's not an Instagram house. It is a lived-in home. It has all the flaws and glitches of a real home. I don't have a camera ready kitchen. I don't have a studio kitchen. The lighting is just what it is. So to do a true video of me cooking is it's really a pain because I have to move stuff that I use all the time out of the way, and it's just life. But I'm overdue for a cooking video. Speaking of cooking, there is for those of you guys who are into Bitcoin or into Nostr or into Fountain.fm, into that world. I have some recipes, excuse me. I couldn't get to the button to stop that fast enough. I have some recipes up on zap.cooking. For those of you who aren't into Nostr and Bitcoin and that value for value type of world, yeah, it is zap.cooking. There's no .com or anything. It's just zap.cooking. And they are the soup-based recipes, all but one, and that was the one I put up yesterday. They are the soup-based recipes that I created my book from last year. They're all up there with the images. It's just like I put my book up there. For your value for value pleasure. And so just go to zap.com. Oh, I tell you what, let me do this while I'm thinking of it. Let me pull it up and then I'll share the screen. Oops, don't do that. Do this. So for those of you who don't know, don't understand what value for value is, value for value is it's instead of me selling commercial space, commercial time, say. Let me see if I can get in here. Oh, darn it. I wasn't signed in down here last time, so I got to go back and get my stuff. So value for value just is basically it's a parallel economy. It's a way of sharing. It's a way of saying what you have presented, whether it's your video, whether it's your audio, whether in this case it's a recipe. Instead of me putting a price tag on it and say you owe me X amount of dollars for downloading this recipe, I'm putting it out there for free. If you find value in it, then you share the fractional Bitcoin or Satoshis. So like I'll post up a recipe and someone will say, I like that recipe. It was great. It was easy. And I want to share, it gave me value and here's how much value it has for me. And so they zap, which is what they call it, because it's like psst, automatic. Psst, it's done. You got it. I sent it to you. Measures of Satoshi. So in I'm trying to do too many things. I don't explain that well because I don't explain it often. Wrong, Robin. So it's giving value for something. It's sharing value. I'm not sharing advertisements, so I'm not making any money off of advertisements, but you found it valuable and you want to share money with me. It's not money, it's Satoshis, but the people that are in that, the people who understand it better. There are people, a lot of people that can explain it a lot better than I can, and I've tried to do it 1,000 times before. All right, let me see if I can get to it now. All right. Oh, it's not loading the. It's not loading my. Recipes. Let me see if I can find it this way. Here we go. Understand for me, please, that the graphics are slow here because I'm on a here we go. So this is Zap.cooking. This is a casserole recipe that I put up yesterday, and the graphics aren't loading very well for me. So here we've got, it's obviously a breakfast casserole with sausage and egg, and I fixed it yesterday. And so we go through here and it tells you the prep time, the cook time, the serving size, the ingredients. I mean, it's just a recipe page, right? So if you're enjoying this recipe, you zap it, which means that um, you've got some Bitcoin, some Satoshis, which is because Bitcoin, a single Bitcoin, I think I think it was at 68,000 this morning, which is crazy. I thought 19 was bad. I thought I can't buy a whole one at 19, but now it's 68,000. So if I enjoy this, it's kind of like tipping. We don't like to use tipping. I should have just started with tipping. We don't like to use the word tipping because it's not a tip, but it's you're sharing. You're saying that something has value. So let's say you went here, you saw this recipe, and you wanted to express that you have gotten some value from this recipe, that you enjoyed it or whatever. So you would zap it, but you have to have your accounts set up. You have to have a wallet, for an online wallet for your Bitcoin to draw down from. It's not that complicated. It's just I never do explain it very well. So, but anyway, so this is mine. It's not um, it's not loading very well. Sometimes it just does that, and it's because of it's my Wi-Fi strength down here is really poor. So there's that. So I do have recipes over there. I've been trying, and then that's not a video format. Okay, that's a recipe page, like All Recipe. Allrecipe.com. You go there, you get your recipes. But so I've started loading some over there. There's quite a few more over there now, and you're welcome. Obviously, it's out there on the web, and you can go and you can look and you can enjoy it, and you can start poking around and see what all you like. And if you're interested in Noster and Fountain and all that stuff, then I'm not the best person to ask because obviously you connect at me and Becky and everybody's over there, outdoor fire band and of the year, and it's just I can remember it being worse. I can remember when my kids, because of the fires, Southern West Virginia was on fire most of southern Western Virginia was burning, and the air was so polluted with the forest fire smoke that the kids were being encouraged to wear masks, the allergy masks, to school because they were sucking in so much of that smoke. And it was to help reduce the particulate and the smoke that they were pulling in their lungs. I noticed it every time I go out because I'm more sensitive to it now that this junk in my chest has developed. And I have a really sensitive sense of smell anyway, because I can smell stuff that people can't, and it's crazy. I'll say, I smell, I don't know, raspberries, and everybody else is like, I don't smell raspberry, and then we get closer to it, and somebody, oh yeah, now I smell raspberry. So I've got like a nose of a bloodhound, I guess. And there's some things that just really I pick up on, and forest fire smoke is one of those. And each evening that I've been out sitting with the birds to let the little ones get some exercise and get some time outside in the yard, protected free range time, it's killing me. It's killing me. But there's no measurable rain in the I mean, I take it back. I think this is Tuesday. I think tomorrow night we're supposed to get some rain, but I don't know that it's supposed to be much enough to put out the forest fires, or it's not going to resolve the drought. We're not going to get this drought resolved unless we have a good, cold, wet winter. So we'll be looking forward to that. As much as I hate the cold, and I like to look at snow from the inside. I don't mind being out in it a little bit just to say, oh yes, it's wintertime, oh it's snow, it's great. Okay, and then I'm done. But that's about it. I'm curious if you guys are. I put a post up. I still have my X account, and I go over here and I'll read it a little bit to try to catch up on some news. My Noster feed is still a lot of people just rah-rahing Bitcoin, and I'm fine with Bitcoin, don't get me wrong, but they're still like, oh, the world's going to burn, Bitcoin forever, yay, and Bitcoin's going to change the world, yay. Well, okay, it may be, but it's an echo chamber, and it wears me out sometimes. I don't want to mute those people because I want to be connected with different types of people, but I mean, they just absolutely just overwhelm my feed. And so I don't get news over there. I'm still getting news, real news over on X. So I threw a poll up yesterday, and I don't have that many people that respond to my stuff over on X. I used to years ago when it was still Twitter and it was still fairly new. I would get in some deep conversations over there, but not in so many years. I kind of left it alone, and things kind of fell away. And once those even if you have a long established account with some of those things, it can be really hard if you don't stay with it all the time to build those back up. And I just don't really want to anymore, but I'll go over there and I'll read. And I did put a post up and ask, are you worried about violence in your community after today's elections in the United States? And of course, the big, the big election is the presidential election, and the candidates are Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And I'm not worried about violence. I mean, there may be some. This is not going to be here in my town, I can tell you that. But in Charleston proper, maybe. But a few years ago when the cities were burning down and the courthouses were being set on fire, and there were groups of people setting up in city parks and calling themselves their sovereign nations, and they were burning things and raping people and just general lawlessness. And I think a couple people got shot, and this was out on the west coast of the United States. Those weren't the conservative people, okay? Those weren't the conservative Trump supporters. Now, somebody will come back and say, January 6th, January 6th. Well, I got news for you. The handful of people that did that mess, the ones that busted out the glass, the ones that shoved their ways in, they've been arrested. I think they've even been put on trial. The ones that died on January 6th was one woman. She was shot by one of the guards. You know, and I'm not advocating, before anybody gets crazy, I am not advocating violence at all. And I don't support violence at all. But the pattern here is not that the conservative Trump supporter is the one going out and tearing stuff down and burning stuff. Donald Trump was not shot by a conservative. He wasn't almost shot by a conservative down on the golf course. The people that were running when he was president before, his staff would go out to public restaurants and would be chased out. Those weren't conservatives that were doing that. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she was not a liberal being chased out of a restaurant by conservatives. So there is a pattern of behavior that is really lopsided where political violence is concerned. But I'm not concerned about it. I don't see my community burning down because the election doesn't go their way, whichever way that would be. But I am curious as to whether you're concerned about it. If you don't see this until later, I would be curious to know if you'd put in the comments if there were violence within 10 miles of you. I don't want your exact address. Or if you want to give the largest city in your state that's closest to you, that's fine too. But it's just an unscientific poll. I would really be curious to know. I mean, the big communities, like let's say if Portland burned down, or if San Francisco went up in flames, or New York or whatever, obviously they're going to be all over the news. But the smaller communities, I'd be interested to know if there was something going on, or if you were concerned about it going on. Let's see. Oh, we're about 8 minutes or so. I hate to go much over an hour. I don't think a lot of people have a lot of patience to go. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not Josephine Rogan. I can't do 3 hours, which was amazing. I knew of Joe Rogan. I never had listened to Joe Rogan. And the only 2 episodes of Joe Rogan I've listened to were Donald Trump and JD Vance. And I got to tell you, I really enjoyed that. I really did. I thought those were 2 very well done interviews. Just calm, matter of fact, didn't pull any punches really. It wasn't rude. I mean, you guys that have listened to me for a long time know that I'm not a fan of foul language. There wasn't a whole lot there. I mean, JD used a lot worse language than Donald Trump did, but it wasn't so bad. The points they were making and the purpose outweighed the little bit of language that was there. But I have ticked him on my YouTube so that I can follow him if I want to. I probably won't listen to a lot of, not for any particular reason, just that. I mean, there's only so many you can listen to. And when you have a life, not that he's not important, but when you have a life outside of this stuff, it's hard to spend a lot of time doing stuff like that. So a lot of the stuff I do doesn't allow for me to listen to a lot of broadcasts and podcasts and stuff really anymore. I do listen if I'm out in the yard doing stuff. I do try to listen doing some housework and stuff. But even at that, there's enough interruptions that I can't get I can't just listen. It just doesn't work that way much anymore. So I want to start winding down then. I hopefully we've touched a little bit on everything that we promised to touch on. Look back a little bit. I'm interested in, what does your holiday season look like coming up? Are you going to be doing a lot of shopping? Is there any particular thing that you're going to shop for? Are you going to do a lot more homemade gifts? If so, what kind of homemade gifts are you going to put together? You're going to travel. Would love to know if you're going to travel. I anticipate around here I'll be doing the Thanksgiving dinner that I usually do. I've been helping out at the church I've been attending. They do a monthly food bank, and I've helped a couple times with the packing the boxes and doing the distributions, and I've really enjoyed that. I really feel that that's a good thing that the church is doing. And I want to encourage you to continue to support Samaritan's Purse, and there'll be a link down in the description for Samaritan's Purse to help the folks in North Carolina, because they've already been, they're already off the front page of the news. They're not even, I don't even think, on the fourth page of the news now. But those folks are still, it's going to be forever. They're still going to lead a lot of stuff. And Christmas is coming up and the holidays, and it's just going to really be hard for them. So I want to encourage you to support Samaritan's Purse if you can do that. And really, I think that's about it. So I'm going to wrap there. We're just doing it 5 minutes early or so, but that's all right too. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching and listening on the backside after, the recording. And I hope that you will like and share and follow and all those happy little things. And we will catch up with you the next time. Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
So there you have it. Post your comments, do all that boosting, liking, sharing, thumbs up, and stuff that helps spread the word and poke the algorithms. Follow me on most of the big social media platforms and look for my name, Robin Holstein, or Holstein House. Till next time, bye-bye.